Ahead of its IPO, Lyft is done playing nice. Yesterday, Lyft and its competitor Juno filed lawsuits against New York City over its new driver minimum wage law. Lyft claims that it will hurt business. When this new policy goes into effect tomorrow, taxi drivers will earn a minimum wage of $17.22 per hour. That's the equivalent of $15 minimum wage, but for taxi drivers. Lyft claims that the new minimum wage would give Uber the advantage as the biggest name in ride-hailing, but also at the expense of drivers and small players like Lyft. So, meanwhile, worker advocates slammed the lawsuit, saying in a statement that the idea that this lawsuit is about anything other than avoiding paying drivers a fair wage is laughable. Does Lyft here have a point, or are they afraid of the new minimum wage because it's going to hurt their profits?
I mean, I think, it's a mix of things, too, right? Whenever we talk about these companies, especially in New York City, because this is really where the nation takes its lead from in terms of what laws are going to be passed and what are the rules for these companies. I mean, it's so strange because on the city side, they have said, it's all about making congestion less of a problem. And it's all about protecting, environmental concerns here. But then when you look at the minimum wage law, I mean, the incentive there would be to bring more people on, and you have more Uber drivers on the road, or Lyft drivers on the road. So I don't know necessarily where it falls in terms of what the city has been trying to achieve. And then on the flip side, I mean, we talk about taxi drivers trying to find a living wage all the time.
Right.
Uber drivers much the same, especially when they don't have any days off or anything like that. I mean, it's a complicated issue, but we're seeing kind of all of these things come to a head.
Yeah, it's an extremely complicated issue. I do appreciate that the driver pay is becoming a focus because for so long, the thrust of these ride-hailing apps, it was all about just you, the consumer, me, and what do I get, and oh, which app is better for me? And people forgot, I think, or maybe they never thought about it, but now they're realizing and thinking about it, that Uber and Lyft and Juno and all these companies have two constituents, right? They have the riders, but they also are serving drivers. Drivers are, in a way, their customers because you need to try to convince them to sign up and be a driver for their service. So they need to pay them a fair wage. I think about that all the time. And it's interesting that Juno hopped on board with this. Juno, which got very big very quickly and then quickly sold to Get, G-E-T-T. I don't know if people know that. And Juno is only in New York. But I find, side note, that it's the best one in New York. I only use Juno in New York.
I only use Via.
It's always about $1 cheap.
I like to do
There's so many, see?
Old school yellow cab.
Great.
I still like yellow cab.
That's good, too. That's good.